Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley, and we're going to be playing some Warhammer 2 battles. This is going to be a 2 versus 2. We've been playing a fair amount with these other players, kind of just swapping back and forth, doing a lot of different types of engagements, mixing and matching the factions. So I have decided to bring one of the offshoots of the Bretonnian Kingdoms. I do have a, well, let's go over my composition. It's going to be pretty high, like flyer squad. So I have Alberic of Baldodo with 2 of the Royal Hippogriff Knights, so pretty tanky flying force that can take out a lot of enemy units when they charge in, but I gotta be worried about anything with halberds. But besides that, this is a very heavy hitting force up in the air. I also have a damsel with the lore of life, and she can rapidly go around the battlefield and really resuscitate those guys. On top of that, I also have the green knight, so I am a very, very powerful striking force here. Decided not to go with too much cavalry because I figured our opponents would think that was coming from Baldodo here. So instead I brought a bunch of mobile flyers to stay away from whatever halberds they would have brought. And then behind that I have 2 peasants to screen the front, 2 peasant bowmen as well, a front line, relatively small one, of 2 battle pilgrims with a Grail Relique to tide them over, and a field trebuchet, so relatively kind of squishy infantry body, just meant to kind of bide their time and wait, absorb enemy hell cannon fire, etc. And essentially buy time for the trebuchet to do its damage and for me to find a place to exploit the enemy's battle lines with my mobile flyers. My ally here has brought 2 of these constructs, a Scorpion and a Hero Titan. These guys are always really fun to bring in battles. They can get swarmed fairly easily, but they are always beautiful centerpieces here. Yeah, you can see them coming forward. The rest of the army is going to be a bit flimsy. I don't see too much heavily upgraded stuff. No Shabti, so some Nehekara warriors with some skeleton spearmen. Pretty good body of skeleton archers in the center. Some more skeleton spearmen. Looks like he has some hex wraiths as well. And then Archon the Black kind of sitting over in the rear with some Kefra guard. So he actually does look pretty pimpin' as well. Really love all the unit models in Warhammer. So fun. So yeah, he's going to wait, chill out in the back for a little bit. There is also going to be this chariot force that is positioned up front. Skeleton chariots that are going to be whipped to advance. Not quite sure what it's doing on this flank, but it is going to start to get targeted by the enemy artillery. We're going to go ahead and put this on play real soon. I just always like to do some of the opening moves. The enemy here, one of the forces is obviously Chaos, the other one is Dark Elves. So the forces of Chaos have brought Archon the Everchosen, mounted as always with a bunch of spells to tear through our Bretonnian line, Flaming Skull, and all that. He also has a Hell Cannon, so this could tear up Bretonnian infantry pretty handedly, and then his front line is going to be a lot of these Chaos Warriors with halberds. I believe there are also some Chosen in the mix. And then he has a Aspiring Champion, so pretty beefy force, no big monsters or anything, just a force to hit you right in the face with a lot of value infantry. And they're going to be buttoned up in the back. On his flank is going to be the Dark Elves. They do have some Black Arc Corsairs in the front line, some Dark Shards. Dark Shards don't have that much range, so we have the range advantage with our Peasant Bowmen and Trebuchet. But the enemy has the Hell Cannon, but at least we can get the superior firepower at first. They also obviously have a War Hydra, they have Malekith up in the air, and they have some Reinforcement Dread Spears around the flank. So overall, the enemy has a pretty good infantry corps in the sense that got a lot of hardy, sturdy troops. Black Arc Corsairs obviously trade well. Chaos is going to trade well. So we got to make the most use of our heroes and some of our gigantic units or very powerful flyers. Malekith is also going to get a little bit cheeky here. He's going to get up front into the battlefield, although this is perhaps not the best of decisions, considering that the Hippogriff Knights are circling about, and that was exactly what I wanted to shut down. But he's going to start to get some spells off against his chariot. I'm not quite sure why they're so... Oh man, 2 strikes against it. I'm not quite sure why they want to take it out so badly, wasting a fair amount of ammo and mana just to get rid of it. And yeah, that didn't do too much. That would have been better used against my Hippogriff Knights, etc. Saving that. But anyways, I guess they just want to see it off to protect their infantry. Meanwhile, I'm going to be starting to counter with some of my trebuchets, and I was going to start to fire right into the Chosen. But these guys are going to take it like champs. They're just going to raise their shields and somehow absorb giant artillery fire. So let's watch this as it comes in. The Chaos forces, or the forces of the Chaos Gods, I should say, are smiling upon them. Even that guy who took a full hit. Oh, no, never mind. His head is gone. He's not coming back. So yeah, I did say that, but it's going to be slow and steady. So every volley taking out 1 or 2 men, it's going to be a little tough. Let's take a look at the Dark Elves here, also facing off against us. Very appropriate backdrop as well. So they have a pretty steady front line. These are Blackguard of Nagaron, staying the right flank. So I'm going to tell my ally to move forward. He's got some archers, and he can start to exchange with this side of the line. And the second Malekith steps out of position, I can come in here with my Royal Hippogriff Knights and try and shut that down. And just saving my guys in reserve. Chaos is going to try and trade with his artillery. He's trading into archers, which I'm okay with that. I'd rather take out his knights. The peasant archers and... fair amount of damage being done here. But yeah, here comes a little bit of a charge on my front. We're repositioning, still not quite sure if we want to engage. This front line from the Tomb Kings doesn't really have what it takes to take on the Dark Elves head on. So I'm going to start to just fire upon them with some of these Pox arrows, being able to outrange the enemy. And so all through the front, we're just going to be trading. But again, take a look at the health on these Chosen. Still really, really good on that. Fire is going to be retargeted against my bowman. He really wants to negate that. And then Blade Wind also going to be tearing through our guys. Ooh, luckily it does stop, so it looks like it missed them. So overall, we're doing okay in the early stages. But let's watch this. As a Royal Squadron flies overhead, what I'm trying to do is pull the enemy out of position, go around the flank, and ideally what I could try and do is hit Malekith, who's flying in here, or pull his archers out of position to the point where they're just forced to mirror my guys. And in doing so, what they're going to do is they're going to get in range of my archers and artillery. And that's just going to open up an opportunity for us to strike if need be. So I'm just toying with his archers. Notice as well that Albric of Bordelot is coming in here. And he has, I believe it's called Wrath of Manann, which is going to be a bounce spell that he has. It's like a big wave. So here it comes. The enemy's perfectly lined up for this. Let's watch as it comes through. Woo! That's pretty awesome. So that was very, very good. And that's going to open up a big... huge hole in the enemy line, so lots of bow fire coming in, and then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go right after Malekith. Now that we've disrupted the front, Chaos still not really responding. Archon is going to be coming in, and he does have some action taking place in the rear. These Hex Wraiths just smushing these Dread Spears, so that's pretty satisfying, although they did take a decent amount of damage. So we'll see what kind of havoc they could do, although in the rear there are some Chaos Warriors with Halberds, Chosen with Halberds, even some dogs could tie them down, so this isn't going to get too much accomplished. I would definitely double back and try and hit the center, especially with the fear that this thing can imbue. That's going to be pretty devastating. But anyways, here we are sandwiching Malekith, so he's going to be howling with pain. Yeah, he's completely shut down. In the center, I'm also going to join the front line with the Green Knight, just hewing his way through it. What I'm trying to do is save our guys here. Oh, looks like a burning head going to be popped from Archon. Pretty good ability here. It's going to help even up the front lines, but some of it is getting through his own ally. General mess in the center, and we are actually winning this, and this is because I got those early Pox arrow shots and even the bounce spell. But despite that, the skeletons are still getting beaten pretty heavily by this. I am bringing forward my damsel with the Lore of Life to try and regen on some of my guys if they start to drop health, but now she's getting focus fire by these Dark Shards. I have to be a little bit concerned because she is the crux of my formation. I invested heavily in these big units and I need her regen, so I'm going to pull her out of here. Meanwhile, more forces are circling around. The Higher Titan still just chilling in the back. Let's actually see what it looks like from his perspective. Same thing with the Scorpion. Not quite sure what's up with my ally, kind of leaving in the back. Oh, this is a nice view. Let's see if we can't kind of pop on over his shoulder. That's pretty cool. Let's watch this full speed. So you can see Malekith over there taking a real beating. And there's not much of the enemy in the air to see us off. These Dark Shards are right below us. Ooh, we got a big regen wave. Anyway, so we're going to be able to see him off, chasing him. I'm not going to commit all of my units against that force because that he's basically seen off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn about here real soon and recommit to this big blob. The center has been crushed in terms of defeating the Dark Elves pretty handily there, but they are getting a War Hydra in the center. And if we don't focus fire on this guy, he'll just keep regenning through all our damage, so that's pretty worrisome. And he's going to do pretty well against these Scorpions. But yeah, we have a lot of archers firing into him, and I don't know, it's going to be hard to take out. So here we go, landing with the Royal Hippogriff Squadron. Green Knight also going to be tasked in the rear lines here. He was doing some early disruption, and he's going to continue to ride forward and suppress the enemy. Hex Wraith's continuing to get, run wild in the background. But let's watch the Green Knight here. Woo! Sending him flying, and he is here tempting Chaos to answer him. Meanwhile, they've been kind of staring down my Bretonnian peasants. As a Chaos force that is a tempting target to charge after some peasants, they're probably wetting themselves here. But I do have some rear lines starting to pull up. Looks like the... oh, actually, those were just the peasant mob. Yeah, so here come more guys. The Hard Titan making its way down the hill. And we're getting all kinds of action down here. Going to get a regen on the Royal Hippogriff Knights with Earthblood. Keep them up and running while the Blackguard of Necron at full health try and commit on my guys. Skeletons are going to sacrifice themselves to keep me alive, which is great because I can focus on the back here and then pull out of that engagement. Another burning head. Ooh, boom, right into the Kefra Guard. I believe fire does extra damage against Tomb King's units, so that's pretty good. And I do catch Archon out in the center. Enemy bows are focusing fire. Green Knight got himself caught up a little bit. He did chase back these dark shards, making sure that I shatter anything that has range to allow me to have late game control here. Ooh, and oh, don't want to miss that. Love these waves. So yeah, Chaos was perfectly lined up, begging for it. So the first one hit is going to be this Chosen, splashed with holy water here. And let's watch these Marauders as it comes down. Actually, let's get a nice view here. This is going to be the postcard that we send them after this battle. Yeah, let's watch this in slow motion. Oh god, this is such a cool effect. It's like raising the dudes, launching them around. That's cool. That's the last thing you expect. Woo! And this thing is really good, apparently against armor targets, so this is as value as you can get. Look at that. Oh my god. Now we're in the splash zone. So that is cool. Yeah, take a look at that. Let's click on Albric. So if you look at the stats on this thing, good against armor, strong versus multiple combatants, causes moderate magical damage. Okay. And it's discouraged -16 leadership, so it probably would have been a decent chance to save that for the late game. But, you know, this was too much of a big tempting target to hit, although it looks like most of them are picking themselves up. Surprised to see that. Anyways, back in the center, we are trying to gangbang Archon, although he has a lot of abilities popped on him, and he does have his war band coming up behind him. And this is going to be able to see my guys off. So I'm going to have to disengage here. There you go, just this Flaming Sword of Ruin here. More missile damage and all that gets off. Ooh, Hero Titan does smack them. Anyways, oh god, look how low the Green Knight was there. Down to 300 health against these Blackguard of Necron. Luckily, my healer does come in and saves the day. And now I'm going to have to swap out Albric and my other units. But I'm losing, man, this is really, really bad, actually. Ushabti are raised to try and slow the enemy down, so Howard Titan is going to come in. So a fair amount of guys coming in and committing to help us out, but man, my big hitters are really, really low. Albric is going to try and pull out of here. The Damsel is going to shout at him. Archon really wants to steer off the battlefield, but he gets tempted by this other big target. Meanwhile, over here, we do have the Tomb Scorpion that was committed against some of these Chaos Marauders and Chosen, although it will... Oh, actually, there's no halberds. Okay, they're in the way back, so he does have a little bit of time to munch down on these Chaos forces. Let's go ahead and watch some of that action. It's a pretty decent value. Would have been better to double back and hit the main blob of Chaos. Oh god, this would have been such a juicy target for my Wrath of Manann spell. And yeah, here come my Bretonnians. Still kind of hanging out in the back. Trebuchet doing its thing, and in the back, we're getting in the rear lines and healing around. Earthblood on Albric. Green Knight is also getting some of it as well. And now we're reforming. This Hydra is still at really good health, and it was destroying my Royal Hippogriff Knight. So I'm not quite sure why my ally has all his archers here not focused. Must have, like, I don't know, been pursuing a different target. But anyways, he needs to reprioritize on this thing because it just ate up his entire front line. There you go. There's the focus fire. And the Green Knight, ooh, here we go, landing. So yeah, I'm going to go after weaker targets here. Allow this War Hydra to commit itself elsewhere. And this is where the Green Knight, ooh, flaming attack against the Hard Titan. This is pretty cool. Yeah, I think we should be able to come here. Green Knight gonna slice its calves. Oh, and actually maybe even get one of the heads. Let's watch this. That's pretty cool. He's getting pounced upon, but it is super low, so he's holding his own. Even some of my own bowmen also going to be helping on that fight. Sweet, the monster has been slayed. Add another one to our list. And yeah, we're going to chase him off. Meanwhile, the Hyrule Titan here is finding itself in a tough spot. Archon and a bunch of Chosen with halberds and other units are here. My units are milling about. They just dispatched, the peasant mob just dispatched some Dark Elves, which is an awesome day with them. Stick the pitchfork right up their bum holes. That's going to be great. I'm going to send them in here to try and hold back these guys. Ooh, but there goes the Hyrule Titan collapsing on Chaos Archon, standing in the mix as well. So we're starting to lose some of our big heavy hitters. These skeleton archers are all out of ammo, so they're going to be throwing themselves into the fight. And what do I have left? Well, I have a couple Royal Hippogriff Knights circling around in the back, just making sure that the Dark Elves are off the battlefield, staying out of range of any spells, etc. And then I'm going to circle up my front line and just stay topped off. As long as I still have ammo on the Field Trebuchet, I'm going to try and withstand a little bit of the damage that's coming here. Or sorry, I'm going to try and delay the fight. Burning Head coming in, hitting one of my peasant mobs, but overall not doing too much. And yeah, like I said, I'm just biding time for my Trebuchet to do its work. Going to stay uncommitted and try and eat up a couple units where and whenever I can. Kefir Guard in here as well. So they should handle themselves decently, but the tide is going to be really brutal. And this is where I would have had the Wrath of Manann. Would have been great for this point in time. But it was pretty well used earlier on as well. Ooh, hits one of our guys. But yeah, this is a juicy target. Anyways, I land with Albric. I have the Green Knight. I have everything trying to dispatch the last of the Dark Elves, and it seems to be working pretty well. You can see some healing going off as well. Trying to top him off, but he's only at 900 health. He can really easily get caught up. So the Green Knight is going to sacrifice himself into this tide to hold back. He's given the order to retreat, but you can see here, completely surrounded on all sides by halberds, and then waiting through the back, Archon, trying to get a piece of that action. I'm going to go ahead and try and heal up the Green Knight, and he's totally caught in here. Really sticky situation. And he's exhausted, he's having a hard time. All kinds of abilities swapped here. Stand or die. Yeah. Oh, and he's just barely getting to the edge of this. More Chaos Warriors pivoting to the center. But I'm going to sacrifice my Peasant Bowman actually to hold that back. Really brave of them, and they're going to actually have the honor of saving the Green Knight before being dismembered there. So there they go. There he goes, pulling back. And now I'm going to reform this line. Pull back the lady as well. And I have some peasants in the back still alive, and here is the final encounter. Let's put this on slow motion and take account of what we have. A huge chaos force, lots of chaos warriors, still some halberds. Hell Cannon crew has been pulled off the guns as well, and they're going to be swarming in here. Archon taking the lead. And what do I have? I have a couple lords, Green Knight, Damsel also, with a couple still regens that she can get off. I have pretty depleted Hippogriff Knights, as well as Albric. So this is a pretty dangerous force, but I'm not quite sure it can handle the halberds and other forces, and Chosen as well. That might be tough. So what I'm going to do is finally I'm going to commit my Battle Pilgrims across the front with the Grail Relic as well, and we'll see if they can hold the Chaos Swarm. We're going to be counting on them to try and deplete their numbers, which is a quite a task to give to the Bretonnian infantry. There is a good amount of supporting fire. Also going to try and heal up the front line as well. Don't really expect healing to go off again on peasants, but hey, every last little bit. I have some spare mana. You know, my heroes just sitting in the back, and I'm going to circle around with my units, trying to have like proximity to help them out. Oh, it actually looks like we were able to dispatch the Blackguard of Nagaron. So these are some pretty awesome Battle Pilgrims. One of them getting down to 21 men, holding the front pretty handedly. And yeah, seeing off the remainder of the Dark Shards, making sure they don't commit. Peasant Bowmen are going to come back into the fight, reform up on the hill, and just fire in. This is going to be pretty crucial. One of them does have Pox arrows, so I get some debuffs against the enemy. But now the front line has pretty much cracked. The Grail Relic is going to be the last thing holding, and it's going to get surrounded by men. I have popped Hold Your Ground. These Battle Pilgrims with the Grail Relic are going to be actually standing tall here. Pretty cool, but we have a Death Blob here. Everything going after Grail Relic. There's the Pox arrows. But now I'm going to decide to rock and roll, commit into the back, hammer and anvil on the flanks where my men still stand tall. And here come the Pox arrows to debuff. Albric waiting for the decisive moment. Don't quite want to commit him too soon while the enemy can still focus fire. So he's waiting to use his abilities and otherwise. Yeah, and Green Knight also waiting, just paces behind the enemy. And what they're waiting for is an opportunity to assassinate Archon. We can see him in the center. He's still guarded by his warriors. But the second he gets a little bit out of position, and this is the moment that I was waiting for, isolated, and this is where I can circle around and get him. The Grail Relic super tanky here, holding out pretty well against a lot of guys. But yeah, there's Archon. Starting to take a pretty big beating by my guys. So here comes the Green Knight, going to circle around, make a beeline for him. Damsel already can commit also. And then Battle Pilgrims and Peasant Mob also going to throw themselves into the fight. So this is quite the heroic effort on our part. But yeah, here's Archon and the Green Knight circling about in the vicinity. The Hippogriff Knight separating them does go down. Oh, awesome. So yeah, now between them, nothing really here. Oh, Albrecht does get in, actually. Gonna try and force him away. Yeah, and it looks like it was successful, so Archon does try and pull out, but the Green Knight is vengefully coming behind him. I do want to show you this. So what I'm gonna do on the Green Knight is he has this ability here. It's the Dolores Sword, which gives you huge armor piercing and buffs, and so I'm gonna try and decapitate Archon the Ever-Chosen here. Earthblood popped on Albrecht just so he doesn't take too much damage, and we'll see how this goes off. Yeah, so here comes. This is going to be pretty awesome. So the Green Knight circling about. Archon has tucked tail and run, trying to pull out of this situation, but realizes, oh, let's get this for the screenshot. That's pretty cool. So yeah, this is going to be quite the duel. And even some Battle Pilgrims also circling about. So you may even get a peasant inflicting the killing blow on Archon. Yeah, he's bleeding out. Oh, and there he goes, dethroned. Looks like it was that Battle Pilgrim. Could have sworn it was him. So that is an awesome win, but there's still a lot of Chaos Forces milling about. My guy's pretty low, just a couple Hippogriff Knights, but the Green Knight is wading into the thick of it. I do re-land Albrecht, and now all of a sudden we get a mass morale blow to the enemy. Terrified for my lord, Archon has fallen, and now the tide turns finally decisively against the enemy. So that, oh, that was awesome. It just killed him with his claws. But yeah, that was a really, really close hold on our guys. Really big, kudos to the Battle Pilgrims for holding strong, rallying the line, tying the enemy down, and allowing my lords to just, wait for the opportune surgical strike on the enemy force, and now chase them off of the Badlands here. Or not the Badlands, I guess the Northern Chaos Wastes. So that was freaking awesome. And the Green Knight, there he goes, charging recklessly after the enemy. 400 health to his name, so that is really low. Just goes to show how important the Lady with the Lore of Life was. She kept these guys at, super good value, keeping them alive, up and running. In the early game, you saw how the Green Knight was so close to dying. Same thing with Albrecht, same thing with the Hippogriff Knights, and the ability to stretch them out to the late game was invaluable. Same thing goes with the Grail Relic, this thing teetering on the edge of health, and that it was kind of the unsung hero of this battle, helping the main battle line hold its own. So damn, that was an awesome fight. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Like I said, we were playing a couple matches with the same opponents over and over. They were pretty good, and so we had a lot of fun here. Let's take a look at these stats for my guys. Lots of damage and lots of chevrons also for these Hippogriff Knights. Lots of value. Same thing with this Field Trebuchet. Used all of its ammo, was firing the whole time. Even Peasants with 20 and 19 kills. Pretty impressive. So all around, really good job. Green Knight with 76. Even the Damsel getting in on it. So pretty value build here, but that's what you get when you only bring 404 Bretonnians. Then you're bringing some of the best of the best. My ally here doing pretty good with the... Oh, actually, the Hexbase did really well. Yeah, the Tomb Scorpion tore it up. Higher Titan did okay, although he got ganged up on. And the Bowman did fairly well. The infantry line, wasn't quite sure what he was going for with the Skeleton Spearmen against Chaos. Yeah, maybe against some of their big monsters, but that would have been probably more readily countered by with Ushabti with Great Bows. And against the Dark Elves, I really wouldn't recommend bringing spears like this, because you'll just get chewed up by Blackheart Corsairs, which is what we saw. So how did Chaos fare? Chaos did pretty good, chewing through my front lines. Yeah, I mean, that's what you get. Value infantry across the board. Hell Cannon doing pretty good with a 1 experience chevron, and it was taking out some of my archer units with single volleys, not only due to the damage, but also the terror that it can imbue. And Archon also with the Flaming Skull and personal combat, getting 83 kills. Pretty awesome there. Malekith just put to shame in this fight with 0 kills. His front line really torn up, and the only real value units were going to be the Blackguard of Nagron and this War Hydra. The rest pretty much crumbled to concentrated spell damage from the Wrath of Manann, some bow fire, and then also, Green Knight and other hippogriffs just landing in amongst them. So we neutralized the Dark Elves pretty handily that battle. So that's it for this one. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.